Good afternoon and welcome back to Karting de Fagnes International Raceway here in Mariembourg in southern Belgium. Time to get things very shortly underway with the racing action for day 2 of the inaugural Karting Champions League Winter Series. Our timetable was delayed this morning due to freezing conditions, very heavy low-lying fog, which could have caused safety issues, which then meant that race director Dave Ritson would then delay the sessions for about an hour and a quarter. But now it is just gone past 20 to 1 in the afternoon. And more to the point, ladies and gentlemen, we have clear skies, clear track, dry conditions, and we are set and ready for our last 10 races of the heat stages of this competition. There you see the timetable on your screens if you are watching via the official Karting Champions League YouTube channel. Hello everyone, Alex Goldschmidt trackside, ready to give you the play-by-play action. We've had some breaking news this morning, courtesy of Karting Champions League, that our KZ winner will get also the chance to go in a Formula 4 test day with MP Motorsport, who actually have one of their vehicles, a single-seater. It's either AutoGP or possibly A1 GP, if anyone might remember that series, the latter of which was considered at that point the World Cup of Motorsport. So good to see that car with us as part of the display. Temperatures now around about, well, it's getting a little bit warmer than it was this morning. It was around -4 at about 8:30 this morning local time. But looking back at yesterday, we had our first set of races, 5 in total, 2 X30 Senior, 1 Iame Mini, 1 Iame X30 Junior, and then KZ2, KZ2 Masters, and X30 Super Shifter. Kevin Lantinga took the inaugural win in Karting Champions League history in Heat 1A versus B by just under 0.3 of a second, ahead of newcomer to seniors Quintin van Leeuwen and Devon Hagelen, who rounded out the top 3. Also saw a bit of a comeback from Alessandro Tudiska. Ireland's CJ Bennett unfortunately retiring after 2 laps with damage to his victory lane chassis. Matthias van der Kerkhoff also took his first win in Karting Champions League in Heat 2 C versus D, pipping Sem van der Heyden from KCR Racing representing the Netherlands by just under 0.4 of a second. PJM's Yanni Bouillet from Belgium rounded out the top 3. A couple of drivers got hit with some penalties. That included a driver that had brake failure during qualifying yesterday, Mathis Marchalt from Belgium. He would make his way up to what was 7th in the end, but then ended up with a penalty post-race for front bumper. Then Milan Beku, a great defensive drive to win Heat 1 of Iame Mini by just 71 thousandths of a second, ahead of Georges Desmir and Louis Boots from Falcon Racing. Louis Paternotte was also in the mix for the victory there. Lasse van der Weide, unfortunately, was disqualified for being underweight on the weighbridge post the session. Stig de Rademaker took first blood in X30 Junior, beating Aaron Vida from the Henze Racing team, representing the Netherlands, and also one of Euro Karting's very own on the Red Speed chassis, Antoine Duval, rounding out the top 3. Top 3 in that race covered by less than 9/10. And then we headed to KZ2, KZ2 Masters, and X30 Super Shifter. And it was Kevin Stehauer that took the victory in the opening race of the weekend ahead of Renzo Alibax, with Daniel Tembach rounding out the top 3. Niels Goster took the win in KZ2 Masters, and Tristan Bellon for Antwerp Karting Racing Team, representing Belgium on the Falcon chassis in the 649, beats Milo van Buggenhout to the win in X30 Super Shifter. Just over 30 seconds away from getting underway with our next race of the event, which is Heat 3 B versus C X30 Senior. We'll have another, including that one, another 4 races, and then we'll decide how Super Heat A and B will line up tomorrow. So we will be running, barring any stoppages or any delays, until around about 4:30 this afternoon local time. So going to be very, very compacted, obviously being affected by the earlier weather. So very shortly, We'll be getting underway with the green flag action here at Karting Champions League for day 2 of the Winter Series. Day 2 of the 2025 Karting Champions League Winter Series here at Mariembourg gets underway with the first heat on day 2 of Saturday. Alessandro Tudisca will start from pole position in X30 Senior Heat 3, Groups B versus C, and he'll have Heat 2 winner alongside him on the front row, Matthias van der Kerkhoff. CJ Bennett will hopefully look to make amends for what happened to him in his first heat of the weekend. He starts from the inside of row 2 with Yanni Bouillet alongside. Casper Norman and Annabelle Bryan round out row number 3. Apologies to Tobias Norman, who was actually put down under the German national flag. He's actually Danish and related, of course, to Casper. So Tobias, representing Denmark, will be then joined on row 4 by Dinan de Vos in the 253. From the Netherlands, Joris Schoens in the 365 for Larea GT1 Racing is lining up on the inside of row number 5, and Luca Montebello completes the top 10. Rafael Linders and Wouter Bergano round out the top 12 ahead of Senna Meunier and Roxanne Lansinger. Keanu Wellens, Mathis Renet, Noah Hubert, Kazot House, Marit Schumann and Mathis Marschalt round out the 20-strong grid. So now go on to their official formation lap. In freezing fog, it sort of condensates and becomes sort of very much a bit of an issue if the carburettor gets filled with a little bit of water, can seize up the internals and thereby potentially cause a major catastrophic internal engine failure as a direct result. But the formation lap is coming towards the end of it, of course, dry track, but it is more than cold. It's nigh enough Baltic with regards to the conditions here today. And we are very much set and ready to go racing. Sunshine looks to be round about here for the rest of the day, and sunset local time in Couvin is going to be just before quarter past 5 this afternoon, so hopefully we'll be done with about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour to spare. So once again, 10 minutes plus an additional lap for all the classes apart from Iame Mini, who'll be running 7 minutes plus an additional lap. Now it's down to Tudisca and van der Kerkhoff to control the pace, and they're doing it very quickly coming out of the final right-hander. Everyone starting to bunch up into the side-by-side rolling start formation, which you see not just in karting, but also GT4, GT3 racing, and also as high up as GT World Challenge and the World Endurance Championship and the forthcoming Asian Le Mans Series. Into the tram lines we go. Red lights on the gantry. And revs up, lights on, lights are out, we're underway, and a good start by Tudisca as CJ Bennett pounces up the inside of Matthias van der Kerkhoff, who's being confronted up the inside going into T2. But van der Kerkhoff manages to defend that for the meantime. That looks to be Casper Norman, might have just made a good hole shot on the start and has gotten up into 4th. Into turn 4 for the first time, and Tudisca starting to stretch out an early advantage. Bennett in 2nd, van der Kerkhoff in 3rd, as we've had one go exit stage right onto the damp and muddy grass off of turn number 4. Looked like a Kart Republic chassis. We'll pick up who that was in just a moment's time. They will break the beam now through the first half of Escargot and then head into the final triple right-hander before we go back onto the start-finish straight. Times will be a lot quicker in terms of the lap times recorded by the drivers, as the conditions are nice and dry on the tarmac. Looks like we have got one move happening, might have been, as now we've seen another move happen, and that is Matthias van der Kerkhoff back through on CJ Bennett at turn 1 through into P2, and now Bennett might try and see if he can get the upper hand, but of course this event, folks, is a winner take all, so the results of the final tomorrow afternoon will be the results of the weekend event. Tudisca having, and a bit of a stumble there. A big old stumble. And that was Alessandro Tudisca going through into Chemin de Fer. I think he just might have hit a slight damp patch. Or he went a bit wide going into the approach, and then both victory lane carts were through. So big drama there from Alessandro Tudisca. An unforced error from the 265 for RSD Karting. And now it's a victory lane 1-2. Van der Kerkhoff leads Bennett. Could be a change for 5th. Casper Norman up the inside of Tobias Norman. And Yanni Bouillet currently holding station in 3rd at the minute. Mathis Marchalt has already bolted halfway up the field. Started last, now P10, and only just a shade under 3 seconds off of the race lead. Seems like my motivational chat with him via Instagram direct messaging has had a very profound effect. But now Matthias van der Kerkhoff has got a bit of a slightly lengthier lead. It was 0.2 of a second after lap 2, and through Escargot it looks like it will be slightly bigger, as Matthias van der Kerkhoff now with clear air has done a 38.3 in the opening sector. Bennett 7/10 off, so that's going to be more of about a second lead, maybe 1.2, and it is just a shade under a second. Yanni Bouillet looking very, very racy. Casper and Tobias Norman, the 2 Danes, are being closed in on by Alessandro Tudisca. And then Annabelle Bryan holding station in 7th. But then you see the 250 of KCR Racing's Mathis Marchalt. And, well, good move there by Alessandro Tudisca through on Tobias Norman at T4. And that's a very difficult place to put that through. Chemin de Fer sees Mathis Marchalt through on Annabelle Bryan. That's 13 places gained within just the first 3 minutes and 40 seconds of this race. So Mathis Marchalt on a tear. Oh, and that's one of the Normans going off. Big moment coming out of the penultimate right-hander. And it all went horribly wrong. The KCR Racing driver has now got a very, very dirty set of scrub tyres. And Casper Norman drops to 9th ahead of Senna Meunier, who's up 3 spots in his own right. And there could be a change here. That's Luca Montebello, I believe. Yep, Montebello through. The RSD Karting driver through on Annabelle Bryan. So that is a change for 7th position. But Mathis Marchalt has been on an absolute tear at the minute. And now is up 15 places. 2.8 seconds was the Belgian away from the race leader, Matthias van der Kerkhoff, who's starting to expand that gap. It was a further 10th and a half plus change that Van der Kerkhoff in the number 236 was able to expand the gap. Yanni Bouillet closing in on CJ Bennett. And that's the battle for P2. Looks to be a better result for the Irishman this time. But at the halfway point, it's Tudisca. Tudisca gets through. And now he says to CJ Bennett, right, CJ, don't fight me. Let's go after Matthias. And that's going to be quite crucial. They may be in different camps, but no, one of the things you want to do as a racing driver, you want to beat your teammates. And Bennett did a really good job early doors to get through on Van der Kerkhoff. But Tudisca, quickest in Sector 2, fastest of anybody. And now, well, Tudisca has dropped CJ Bennett as Mathis Marchalt. Oh, that was coming out of the left-hander following Chemin de Fer. Mathis Marchalt now up to 4th, 16 spots by the 250 from Belgium. You can see how motivated he is. One of the Normans gets past. That's Tobias Norman being passed by Annabelle Bryan. So the 383 gets past the 353. There they go. Well, we've got a couple of time penalties coming in as Tobias Norman gets back through on Annabelle Bryan. They've got Senna Meunier right with them, along with Raphael Linders. Casper Norman at the back of the train, along with Wouter Bergano. I wondered who the Fusion driver was in this field, and it's the 234. A couple of penalties in race. 3:47. Mathis Renette will get a 5-second post-race penalty for 3 to 4 wheels being out of the corridor on the tram lines at the start. 2:28. Luca Montebello is going to get a 3-second time penalty post-race. 2 wheels out of the tram lines. So at the minute, Montebello would drop quite considerably all the way down to 14th. And that is Raphael Linders, the 366. on the penultimate right-hander. Tried to get the kart going, and on slick tyres, that is no bueno, I'm afraid. Just spooled up the rear tyres. Yellow flags are out. Leenders has pulled the kart unassisted back onto the circuit, but those tyres are going to be slipperier than an ice rink right at this point. There'll be no traction at all. And that has put Rafael Leenders to down what will be stone dead last, I'm afraid. And dive bomb and then some. That was Yanni Bouillet through, I think, on CJ Bennett, who now is behind Matthias Merschalt. So Merschalt now into third position, but in the meantime, Alessandro Tudisca has been putting in qualifying style laps again, and the gap was 0.6 last time round. It's 0.3. He's more than halved it. 56.322 was the last lap by Alessandro Tudisca. Matthias van der Kerkhoff, 56.690. Tudisca for the move up the inside at turn 3, and he's got it. Well, once again, Alessandro Tudisca not having the best of starts, but during the race, he's absolutely flying. And can he start putting distance between himself and victory lanes? Matthias van der Kerkhoff. Matthias Merschalt's got to find probably the best part of 2 seconds. If you said he'd had about double the time that's left on the timer, which is about 1 minute and 40 to go, plus a lap, I would say yes, there is a definitive possibility. And there's been drama. Roxanne Lantinga is out. A real shame for the younger sister of Kevin Lantinga. Kevin, who won the opening heat of the weekend. So Roxanne Lantinga and Rafael Leenders. I'm not at all surprised that Leenders decided to pit the kart after going off exit stage left. As Jori Schoens and Matthijs Renet have been having a bit of a 2 and 8 going into turns 1, now into 2. And Jori Schoens just says, you know what, I'm not going to fight too hard about that. But then Keanu Vellens gets through in the 262 for Eichmann's Grand Prix. And here comes Casper Norman, and he gets through as well. So Jori Schoens was in 11th, now drops all the way down to 14th place, as our leaders are now making their way through out of Escargot. They've broken the timing beam once again. And more to the point, Alessandro Tudisca on first sector pace is over 2.5 tenths of a second quicker than Matthias van der Kerkhoff. But we go on to 2 laps to go. Lap 10 in the books, 12 laps race distance scheduled. Into turn 1 for the penultimate time. And the battle between Tudisca and van der Kerkhoff is starting to intensify. Out of turn 2, carry the momentum through, have a little nibble at the curbing. This time through turn 3, the apex is more like the racing line rather than the curbing on the inside. Into T4. And then through into 5 on the run down to Chemin de Fer. I'm going to be really interested when they break the timing beam halfway through the Escargot section as to how much time Matthias Merschalt is closing in on the 2 in front. So, right, Matthias Merschalt not able to match the pace of neither Matthias van der Kerkhoff and Alessandro Tudisca. But this is going to help Merschalt's campaign. Dinan de Vos, latest retiree, the 253 from Belgium, retires on lap number 9. Last lap underway, and we still have 17 runners and riders out of the 20 that started this race just over 10 minutes ago. But the lead is still being hotly contested as Matthias van der Kerkhoff dives up the inside through at turn 3, and there's a blue flag up ahead. So I would say that is Marit Schaumann that is in front of Matthias van der Kerkhoff and Alessandro Tudisca. The back marker gets out of the way. Now this could give Tudisca the opportunity. Tudisca took a little bit more wallop of a curb, but into the Escargot section, a wallop of curb, a bit too much there for Matthias van der Kerkhoff, but it's going to be a run to the line in this heat. So who's it going to be? And now Tudisca swarms over the back of Matthias van der Kerkhoff. Now the run up the hill for the final time. Checker is going to be out. Van der Kerkhoff starts defending, and Tudisca has to stay in the wheel tracks and is 47 thousandths behind at the checkered. Well, there you go. That's a great way to start a Saturday afternoon of racing. 2 for 2 for Matthias van der Kerkhoff from victory lane, and he pips the hard-charging Alessandro Tudisca by 47 thousandths of a second. Matthias Minashot from the back of the grid to finish up 17 places to take third at the flag. Yanni Bouillet and CJ Bennett rounding out the top 5. Better result there for the Irish driver. Annabelle Bryan in 6th, ahead of Tobias Norman. Good work by Senna Meunier to move up from 13th at the start to finish 8th, ahead of Fusion Motorsports' Uta Bergano and RSD Karting's Luca Montebello, who rounds out the top 10. Casper Norman, Jori Schoens, Keanu Wellens, Noah Hubert and Mathis Renette round out the top 15. There are still the penalties to be applied post-race. Right, 2-4-1. Casper Norman gets a 5-second post-race penalty for pushing. So Mathis Renette rounds out the top 15 provisionally, ahead of Kaz Woodhouse and Marit Schurman, with Dinan de Vos, Roxanne Lantinga and Rafael Linders unfortunately retiring. Next up, Heat 4, Groups A versus D. X30 Senior is next. The following drivers report to the stewards immediately. The following drivers to report to the stewards immediately. Driver number 542. That's 542. Martin Versteeg. And driver 468, Rick Hartmann. So can Martin Versteeg 542 plus entrance and Rick Hartmann 468 plus entrance report to the stewards immediately? Thank you. Now time for our fourth heat for X30 Senior. It's Groups A versus D, and here is your starting grid. Heat 1 winner Kevin Lantinga will start from pole position. He'll be joined by Zem van der Heyden on the front row. Quinten van Leeuwen and Luca Moulin will be on row number 2. Devin Haglen and Marcus Gloom will be on row 3. Row 4, it's Kevin Bakker and Rafael Boula, with Charlie Gloom and Mirko Wolters running at the top 10. Max Hessel, Noel van Voortveld, Tristan Kroon, Leon Leinsveld, Raffaele Santocono, Gaspar Delbar, Leon Lambrecht, Hugo van der Velde, Jesse Polderdijk, Zino Valke and Thomas van Vliet round out the 21 strong grid. Once again, it will be a 10 minutes plus an additional lap adventure. So those watching on the official Karting Champions League live stream, the Saturday live stream, thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed at the moment. And if you get the opportunity, give us a like, share, and if you haven't already subscribed, please make sure you do so. It's one click for you guys out there, but it means a heck of a lot to us here at Karting Champions League for you to do that and obviously spread the word. It's great to have this event now. We're pretty much on day 2 out of 3. And great to see that a lot of people who had decided to enter this one-off event had given it an opportunity and thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go, see how things happen, and I'm going to try my best. And that's all you can say about that one. So at the moment, wins in heats for X30 Senior. Can it be 2 apiece for Kevin Lantinga after Matthias van der Kerkhoff has just carried out the same feat just a few moments ago, despite the best efforts of one Alessandro Tudisca. Matthias Merschelt showed that he has got pace and could be one of the dark horses here this weekend when we go into finals day tomorrow. So, drivers under starters' orders instructed by race director Dave Ritson to slow down. Revs up, lights on, lights are out, we're underway. And as he turns into turn 1, sideways there from Kevin Lantinga, but all one has gone grass cutting. Charlie Gloom has also ended up spinning around and rejoining in the correct direction around the circuit. Hugo van der Velde, I think, has had dramas in the meantime. The 221, who started in 18th position. But just like we saw in the first heat of the weekend, Kevin Lantinga has done exactly what he wants to do, which is bolt away and get himself out of harm's way. Zino Falca making a couple of moves coming through the exit of Chemin de Fer. They break the timing beam. It was not just, looks like Rafael Boulard and Charlie Gloom more inroads. Didn't have a good run in his opening heat yesterday. So after the opening lap, Lantinga leads. Van Leeuwen second, half a second behind. Hagelen is up into P3. Van der Heyden right. So Charlie Gloom, Mirko Wolters dropped quite a lot. So did Noel van Voortveld. So quite a few drivers have profited. Thomas van Vliet started last, now is P12. Could there be an opportunity for someone else to mirror the efforts of Matthias Merschelt in the previous heats? Well, if Van Vliet gets ahead, it would be Tristan Kroon, Max Hessel and Kevin Bakker. Bakker is the 255 at the head of the train. They are being put on by the 382 for the racing team run by a man still who competes this very day, Thierry Del Rey, Leon Leinsveld. Quinten van Leeuwen now closing in on Kevin Lantinga. The gap between them last time around was 0.178 of a second. Devin Hagelen said on Instagram yesterday, well, qualifying could have been a little bit better, but I'm really happy about my pace in the heats. Well, he's only 8.5 tenths and it kicked up the water, so they've got to be very, very careful that it does not compromise their tyre grip on the right-hand side of the kart, especially at the right rear. 6.5 minutes to go. And once again, Hagelin is getting quicker and quicker. He's got a little bit of a motivational spur, as in the fact he's got 2 drivers in front of him. And the good thing is Devon remaining with Fusion Motorsport once more. But Quintin van Leeuwen, he's right in the wheel tracks going into turn number 1 behind Kevin Lantinga. They were 67 thousandths of a second apart. Quintin van Leeuwen running with the Henze racing team on the what is called the Henze chassis. First time I've come across that particular. And oh, hello to Matthias Verreken in the chat. Good to hear from you, Matthias. A driver that loves racing, especially in X30. So in other categories thereof, but Lantinga is very much holding on to that race lead. Now, it could be the case that you might get 3 wins on heats, but it's more to the point. More to the point that you're going to have some drivers that will go, well, I'll just conserve the machinery underneath me, and that's quite important, especially when it is a winner-take-all. You want everything to be in the right way. And yeah, the Henze brand through the Kart Store International, based in Bezeland in the Netherlands. I've had the opportunity to go to that facility there, and a wonderful showroom. And also, for those sim racing fans out there, well, there's a bit of Opmeer history. Jarno Opmeer, I might add, who's now with Red Bull Racing Esports, but still came back to KZ2 action last year at the Chrono Karting Dutch National Championship at certain rounds, with other drivers that have raced in the Netherlands, such as Nina Gederman, who is running in single-seaters these days, but she still found it quite conducive to come back to KZ2 racing. We've got KZ2 Masters and X30 Super Shifter later on to conclude the second round of heats. But Kevin Lantinga doing a very, very sterling job. As we've got a drama, and that is an issue for the 382 Leon Leinsveld, running 12th, pulls to the right-hand side off of turn 3, and Marshall post 4, we have yellow flags waving. So that looks to be that Leon Leinsveld is going to be out of this race. Or is he? Well, he got out of the way. So Marshall post 4 is waving. Yeah, Leon Leinsveld has been assisted to safety by one of the marshals, and the TD official racing kart driver is now... this is now getting feisty, because I saw a shed load of pointing from one Kevin Lantinga, who was not very happy, I presume, with Quintin van Leeuwen. Now, Quintin was running with Falcon Racing last year, now moves to Hamza Racing, and you could... And now it's all really kicking off. Lantinga trying to get through at turn number 4 on Devon Hagelin. And now, this is going to get a bit close for comfort as they come out of Chemin de Fer and into Escargot. Van Leeuwen has a slender lead. He was 3/1000ths ahead of Devon Hagelin before Hagelin fired it up the inside through into turn number 1. So Kevin Lantinga is going to try and see if he might do a little bit of the old risk versus reward strategy, because he's got to go for it if he wants to equal Matthias van der Kerkhofer for race wins, as now Hagelin and Van Leeuwen start to battle, and Lantinga's going to fire it up the inside of the Hamza Racing Team driver, and through goes Lantinga. Perfect opportunistic take from Lantinga to get through, and he knew he had to react quickly, and he did not need a second invitation at all. So Henze Racing Team's Quintin van Leeuwen overtaken. Lantinga nibbles a big wallop of the curb with the right front tyre going into the approach into Chemin de Fer. It can be very, very difficult, because they do say You've got to defend it to the hilt, but sometimes the best defense is a good offense. And now Lantinga, I think, is going to go aggressive as we're going to head on to our penultimate lap, lap 10, about to be completed here for our fourth heat out of X30 Senior. Hagelin leads, going on to lap number 11. Mulau, Gloom, that's Marcus Gloom, Zem van der Heyden, rounding out the top 6. Thomas van Vliet has made his way to complete the top 10 at the moment. So Lantinga is trying to get through. He's got to, if he's going to dive bomb, he's got to do it now. If he's going to dive through on the inside, he's got to try to chemin de fer, and does not get through. He decided to wait for it, because next time around we'll have 1,388 metres in a clockwise direction to navigate through Escargot. Come the leaders, and now it's going to be the run up the hill for the penultimate time. They go past the Piff Paff chicane in the mechanics gantry. Last lap board is out. Hagelin has got Lantinga in the wheel tracks. Lantinga switches to the outside, and is he going to get the over under? He's going to try for it. They're nearly wheel to wheel into turn 2. Hagelin shuts the door. Lantinga back in the wheel tracks once again. Through into turn 3, and now Van Leeuwen makes it 2's company, 3's the crowd, as Lantinga is wrestling with the steering wheel. Up the inside, through at turn 5 goes Van Leeuwen. He saw a gap, he went for it, and it was beautiful. It was poetry in motion. Quintin Van Leeuwen did a number on Kevin Lantinga, and there is also one of the victory lane carts. That is going to be Luca Moulard, but up the hill we go. Lantinga's going to get the side draft and the overspeed. It's the run to the line here in Heat 4. Lantinga by a whisker. Moulard pips Van Leeuwen 85 thousandths of a second, and you can see what it means to Kevin Lantinga. He's gone, yes, I got you. Yes. That is a man possessed. It might have been one of the closest finishes of the weekend so far, but Kevin Lantinga forced the window of opportunity to come his way. He was not, and he teed it up nicely. Lantinga takes the win by 70 thousandths of a second, ahead of Luca Moulard from Victory Lane in the 308. Quintin Van Leeuwen takes third. Fourth for Devon Hagelin, who also picked up the fastest lap of the race. Marcus Gloom takes 5th, ahead of Zem van der Heyden. Tristan Kroon 7th. Max Hazel 8th. Thomas van Vliet from the rear of the grid to finish 9th, ahead of Kevin Bakker, who completes the top 10. With that, Leon Lambrecht round out the 18 finishers. Unfortunately, we lost Leon Limesveld, Charlie Gloom, Hugo van der Velden. we now turn our attention back to Iame Mini. And after Heat 1, well, Milan Beku is going to start once again from pole position and will be joined on the front row by Louis Boots in the number 830. Row 2, it's George Desmé and Didier Dodale in the 831 and the 898. Louis Peternot and Sem Sazlik in the 837 and 849 will round out row number 3 with Dorian Grandjean in the 817, joined by the 832 of Julian van der Cotelet. Vin Wines in the 806 and Axel Leenders in the 866 round out the top 10. Followed by the 855 of Matteo Campobello, Joshua Lorison in the number 854, Bruce Chirino in the 875, Kik Barkers in the 821, the 881 of Luc Clay, the 807 of Kian Ten Hove, and then 833 Bram Connings in 17th, Maxime Van Creen in the 880 with Lassie van der Weide in the 826 and Milo Cornel in the 829, rounding out the grid. Apologies, folks, we have had some slight issues reference the live stream, but thank you for bearing with us. So the drivers now head on to their official formation lap, ahead of 7 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. And looking back at the previous heat, some really good racing. We did have a couple of drivers be hit with a front fairing penalty. Sem Sazlik and Luc Clay were the only 2 drivers. Lassie van der Weide, unfortunately, being found to be underweight and thereby excluded from the session, having finished in what was, I think, around about 15th place on the road last time out. But Iame Mini getting ready. Sem Sazlik slotting into his position in the outside of row number 3. Pole position for the circuit is on the right-hand side. And it will be down to both Milan Beku and Louis Boots. So Eichmann's Grand Prix and Falcon Racing on the front row. So our Iame Mini drivers keeping us waiting as the red lights are ignited on the starting gantry ahead of their second adventure around this circuit here at Mariembourg. 7 minutes plus an additional lap. So we'll be scheduled for 8 laps of racing. Drivers instructed to slow as the revs rise. We are lights out. We're underway as Milan Beku swipes across the front of Louis Boots and to cover off George Desmé as we're 3 wide coming out of turn 1. Around about 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. But Milan Beku starts to get an initial breakaway on the 899. As Didier Dodale looks to have moved up into 3rd place. Oh. That was skating on thin ice around the edge of the circuit. That was the 881 of Luc Clay, who's found himself a lot further back. And it looks like Julian van der Cotelet might have made up a couple of places in the meantime for the Henza Racing team. But Milan Beku has started to really stride away into the distance at the moment as they come through, break the timing beam. And his lead from Louis Boots is... Well, it's not Louis Boots, it's George Desmé, who I think now has moved up into 2nd place, who finished P2 in the previous heat, and the gap was just over 0.3 of a second. One driver hemorrhaging places as they go up the hill and spins. Oh, dearie me, that was a 540 right there on one of the most precarious places at full speed. I think that might have been Joshua Lorison in the 8.54 who started 12th. I haven't seen that happen before. And there's also a yellow flag at Marshall Post 12. And that will be moving up towards the start-finish straight. So driver is out of the car, unassisted, all okay. No harm done to the driver. There's the 8.17. That's Dorian Grandjean chasing down Julien van der Cotelet on the Henze chassis. And then just behind them looks to be, I think that is, who's that? That's the 837, Louis Peternot. Meantime, there is a big old Barney happening in front of them, about 0.8 of a second up the road, and it's the two Falcon Racing drivers. Georges Desmarais versus Louis Boots is now up the inside of Julien van der Cotelet goes Dorian Grandjean. And then I think Louis Peternot might, well, it might be the fact that, oh dearie me, that was not how that was meant to happen. And at that point, well, Dorian Grandjean got through, and then Julien van der Cotelet made contact with Louis Peternot, I believe. And behind them, you've got Didi Dedale, Matteo Campobello, who I've just noticed his front fairing is wobbling up and down like a yo-yo at the minute. There's the two Falcon Racing drivers. Gap between first and second. Last time around, after 2 laps, was nearly the best part of a second and a half. So the two Falcon Racing teammates are running line astern at the moment. Boots just behind Desmarais. Coming up to 3 minutes and 50 to go. Lap 3 in the books. And Milan Beku's lead now is close to 1.5, well, it's just over 1.5 seconds between him and third place. Then Dorian Grandjean is a further 1.4 seconds behind this battle here. So, yeah, Joshua Lorison, the first confirmed retiree in this race. So we're down to 18 runners and riders. Dorian Grandjean looking to try and close that gap to second and third in front of him. So they're heading to Chemin de Fer once more. No in-race penalties yet to be issued with regards to possibly start infractions. But we are now into the final 3 minutes plus an additional lap. And then after this, we'll have one more heat to go for Iame Mini, due at 3:35 p.m. this afternoon, local time. So Milan Beku, well, was having to defend last time. Right. Penalty has been issued in race for Kik Burkers. 3-second time penalty for 1 or 2 wheels outside of the tram lines. There has been a change a little bit further back, more towards the bottom part of the top 10. But Louis Boots content to stay in the wheel tracks of Georges Desmarais at the moment. Might try and go and steal that away from him in the dying stages of the race as we head into Chemin de Fer once more. Dorian Grandjean, purple sector, held by that driver in sector 1. Sector 2, it goes the way of Louis Peternot down in 5th place. But Milan Beku, last time around, had to defend as if his life depended on it. This time, it's been very much a fait accompli. It's pretty much done and dusted. And he's expanded the gap now to 1.7 seconds. So between them, Desmarais and Boots are running anywhere between 1/10 to the best part of nearly 2/10. Slower on comparative lap times when you take into consideration the driver at the front end of the field. Matteo Campobello has moved up now into 8th, having just got past Sem Saslik in the 8:49. Saslik running with MCK Racing. And Milan Beku, last time around, new fastest lap and also now has gone purple. Sector 1, Milan Beku starting to stretch that advantage. Can it be closer to 2 seconds by the end of this race when we hit the checkered? Well, that's dependent on the two drivers here, Georges Desmarais and Louis Boots. Lap 6 completed. Gap now 1.65 seconds to second place, and Louis Boots gets through quite nice and cleanly. George Desmay didn't really need to fight it, and on that particular occasion pretty much didn't fight it. So I think maybe it's a case where Louis Boots got the his third last time, so swaps it, making a little bit of Falcon Racing musical chairs at the minute. The timer is going to expire as Milan Beccu will head his way into Escargot for what will be the penultimate time as the timer expires just before Milan Beccu crosses the timing beam, and a 40.643 once again. So a very, very good run there by those drivers as Milan Beccu takes us on to the last lap of the race. And Louis Boots 1.85 seconds behind. Dorian Grandjean, Julien van der Cotelet, Louis Peternot, Didier Dedale, and Sem Sazlik, Milo Cornel, who's up 11 places, and Matteo Campobello rounding out the top 10. Bruce Chirino has made up 2 places, the youngster from the Netherlands, moving up to 11th. Axel Linders, Vin Wines, Kik Berkers, Maxime van Krijn, Kian Tenhav, Lasse van der Weide, Lou Clay now ahead of Bram Konings as Joshua Lorison, who we saw doing that very unusual spin. Maybe that the back axle maybe the back axle locked up due to an engine seize. But it's going to be the checkered flag this time around. And after 8 laps, it's going to be 2 for 2. The winning streak continues here at KCL for Eichmann Grand Prix. Milan Beccu lights out to checkered flag once again. And the 899 takes the victory after 8 laps by just under 2.5 seconds. Louis Boots in P3 behind George Desmay. So provisionally, it's exactly the same as how it finished last time around. Dorian Grandjean, who finished down in 9th last time out, finished in P4 ahead of Julien van der Cotelet, and that's a solid pair of 5-place finishes between the pair. Louis Peternot, Didier Dedale, Sem Sazlik, Milo Cornel, Matteo Campobello, Bruce Chirino, Axel Linders, Vin Wines, Maxime van Krijn, Kik Berkers, who will get that 3-second time penalty post-race and will stay 15th. Finishes ahead of Kian Tenhav, Lasse van der Weide, Lou Clay and Bram Konings, who rounds out the final classified driver, and unfortunately through the spin, maybe due to an engine seize, Joshua Lorison, who finished in 7th last time out, retired on the end of the opening lap. Next up, it's Heat 2, KZ2, KZ2 Masters, and X30 Super Shifter. We return to X30 Junior for heat number 2, and here is your starting grid. Timio Rifla and Heat 1 winner Stig de Rademaker will line up on the front row. Aurelio Giustinelli and Alexandre Point will be on row 2. Noah Grenier will be joined on row 3 by Aurélien Lemaire, with Adam Vida and Yannis van den Bosch on row 4. Completing the top 10, it will be Maurice Verkruijs and Antoine Duval. Lucas Pellizzari and Lorenz de Kock round out the top 12 ahead of Antoine Boots and Bink van Scheindel. Danny Beurs and Len Gugman round out row 8, with Panama's Jose Halfen and Belgium's Sacha Duquet rounding out row 9. Completing the top 20 will be Ben Gotts and Ludwig Granquist. Sjoerd de Vries, Didier Krieft and Mathis Mouche complete the 23-strong grid. So quite a few front fairing penalties last time out on Heat 1, 6 in total. We had 3 drivers pinged for 3 to 4 wheels outside of the tram lines on the race start, giving them each respectively a 5-second time penalty. And then we also had another 3 that ended up being 1 or 2 wheels outside of the tram lines when breaking formation before the lights went out. And those 3 drivers respectively received a 3-second post-race time penalty added to their total race time. Very shortly, we will be under very much starters' orders here for Heat 2 out of 3 for the X30 Junior Division for the 2025 Karting Champions League Winter Series here at Karting de Fagnes in Mariembourg, as the red lights will be on the gantry. So the driver's now at a constant speed, but race director Dave Ritson says no, that start's not okay, you're going around for another one. Amber false light start light flashes, and we go around again. So, second time of asking, drivers weaving from side to side. Some which will do so to check the steering on their carts. Some try it for maybe getting a little added degree of temperature, even though it might not be much on a cold, dry circuit. The field now gets into formation. Drivers instructed to slow. We are revs up, lights on. Lights out. We're underway, second time of asking. Oh, and a dive and a half by one of the Euro karting entries into turn 1. Bumped over the curbs. And we've got someone trying to go around the outside of Timio Rifla. And that was Stig de Rademaker. Brilliant move, but a kart sideways and beached on the apex. It was the 139, and it's caused chaos behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 karts in total involved. And there's a Falcon Racing kart on the side. That's the 107. Bink van Scheindel from the Netherlands is pushing that kart off the grass and back onto the circuit unassisted, and will get back in, restart the engine, and is way, way back from the rest of the field. But the opening lap comes to an end, and leading is Stig de Rademaker with a fantastic round the outside overtake on Timio Rifla, who holds on to second, but Aaron Vida gets through on Noah Grenier. So does RSD Karting's Aurelio Gistinelli. So a good bit of work there by the 136 to get through, along with the 168 running with the Henze Racing team. It's getting very, very hot and heated under the collar at the moment. The top 7 rounded out by Euro Karting's Belgian wunderkind Antoine Duval, covered by just under 1.7 seconds after the opening lap, and Antoine Duval is pushing. And Duval has gone purple in sector 1 again. But Timio Rifla right in the wheel tracks of Fusion Motorsport Benelux Progress Racing's Stig de Rademaker. And Duval now past Noah Grenier and Alexandre Boin, who are both respectively battling over 6th and 7th. And Duval has left them for dust. Now closing in on Gistinelli, through into turn 4, now into 5 on the run down to Chemin de Fer. And, well, the top 2 starting to try and break away. Rifla was just 63 thousandths of a second behind Stig de Rademaker across the line. But you can get this sense of foreboding that now, well, de Rademaker's got a bit of an a bit more of a lead. It was 63 thousandths, it's going to be more like 3 tenths. Across the line they go, 0.336. Duval is absolutely flying at the moment. Purple in sector 1, purple in sector 2, and that equals new fastest lap of the race. And Duval looks for the switchback into turn 3. Neatly goes the 123 from Euro Karting on Aurelio Gistinelli to take 4th place. With 6.5 minutes to go plus an additional lap, you can very much see that Antoine Duval could go for the win here. And when he was only 9 tenths behind Stig de Rademaker, they break the timing beam again. Oh my goodness me, Duval, where is this frightening pace coming from? 38.135 in sector number 1 by the driver, currently in 4th place. He's now in the wheel tracks of Henze Racing teams. Aaron Vida, who goes for the move now on Timio Rifla. Up the inside he goes and takes 2nd. Duval carries the momentum through and very much is on the rear bumper of the 128 from RSD Karting. And now he's going to do it again, just like he did on Gistinelli. And Duval taps the side of his, the right-hand side of his race helmet as if to say, come on, right, think. It's just a little bit of a way in which a driver can sort of say, okay, right, you know what you've got to do. You know how you need to play this. Get the job done. No in-race penalties from either, well, from more than likely either false starts or start line infractions. But with just over 5 minutes to go, there is a real distinct possibility that the pace that Antoine Duval, who's set fastest lap after fastest lap, and now de Rademaker started to respond. Duval, that's another new fastest lap, and he didn't even go purple. Didn't even go purple in either sector. And now Vida and de Rademaker have got to have eyes in the back of their heads. Change for lead at turn 3. So Adam Vida gets through on Stig de Rademaker, but so has Antoine. Well, Stig de Rademaker's got the lead back. Antoine Duval has got through for 2nd. Timio Rifla is now behind Adam Vida, and at the back of the quintet is Aurelio Gistinelli. Now, bearing in mind, the previous race concluded with De Rademaker taking the win by 0.81 of a second, and with 4 1/4 to go plus an additional lap. So it's not a case of if, it's a case of when Antoine Duval is going to get through. And that will be sooner rather than later, I can guarantee you that much. But how much are the 3 behind going to factor into this battle for the race lead? So, De Rademaker, Duval, Vida, Riefler, Giustinelli. The top 5 covered by 0.8 of a second after 6 laps. Luxembourg's Lucas Pellizzari has just put in the new fastest lap of the race, 57.687 by the 102. Pellizzari running with Euro Karting, one of just a handful of Luxembourgers here this weekend at Mariembourg. And you can see the hand signals from the mechanics gantry just off of the Piff Power chicane, but also some fist pumping just off of the fencing by the start-finish straight. And Duval is biding time, not going for it straight away. Just keep De Rademaker guessing as to what move he's going to do next. They go through into turn 4, into 5, now into Chemin de Fer. And De Rademaker goes a little bit deeper under braking just to cover off that line that Duval could have completely exploited through the second half of Chemin de Fer. It's all about just parking the cart where you need to. And Adam Vida now has the new fastest lap of the race, 57.228. Duval, personal best last around 57.262. De Rademaker was running at a 57.3. 57.034 is the new fastest lap. It's just been set by the driver in 5th position, Aurelio Giustinelli, who, just like Antoine Duval a little bit earlier on, and Duval up through the inside at turn 3, and De Rademaker gets the lead. De Rademaker shuts the door, and Vida has no chance of getting through there. It's game on for the race lead, and more importantly, in this particular heat for Junior X30, it is for the race win. De Rademaker's already taken one. Can Antoine Duval make sure that he gets through? And of course, the name Duval has pedigree in Belgian motorsport through François, who many a year ran in the World Rally Championship. Good to see that Antoine shows that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But he is leading, not by much, but anything can happen in the next minute and a quarter. De Rademaker returns the favour through, this time into turn 1. Adam Vida's got the inside line on Duval into turn 2. And the Hansa Racing Team driver gets through for P2. Giustinelli fires it up the inside of Riefler, but has to back out of it. It was like, you don't want to see 2 RSD karting drivers coming together at any point. And that's, of course, the biggest unwritten rule of motorsport. Never take out your teammate. But there's still an opportunity. We're going to have 2 more laps to go after this one. And more to the point, who is going to be the one that is going to win? Now, the thing is, the top 3 is as they were last time out in Heat 1. Timmy Riefler is up a position. He finished 5th in Heat 1. Noah Grenier, who was 3rd, currently sits in P7. 2 to go. Up the inside goes Vida. Retakes the lead once again. De Rademaker slots back into 2nd. Riefler and Giustinelli, they're having a bit of an elbows out incursion. Inter-team squabble is what that is normally called. And now into turn number 4 once again. Timer has expired. Next time around it's going to be 1 more lap to go. And sometimes risk versus reward will pay dividends, whether it's on this lap or the final lap of the race. Set to complete another 12 laps of racing distance. So up the hill we go once again for the penultimate time as lap 11 is completed 12th and final lap underway. And today to make tries to do the switcheroo on Adam Vida, but it doesn't work out. Duval has just got to bide his time and wait for the opportune moment to strike, but time and corners are not on the Euro karting driver's side at this moment. This is the home circuit for the team. And now Vida goes defensive today to make it looks for the switchback. Duval is just waiting. What's going to happen in the run down to Chemin de Fer for the final time? Vida closes the door to both De Rademacher and Duval. This is going to be an electric run to the line, I'm sure of it, as they go through into Escargot for the last time. A bit of a bump and it unsettles Vida. He's around. Vida's around and off. Oh, dearie me, the slightest of touches. Front to rear bumper from Stig De Rademacher. Adam Vida out of the kart. And it is going to be 2 for 2 on the road. Stig De Rademacher takes the win. Antoine Duval takes second. Timio Rifla rounds out P3. Aurelio Giustinelli fourth. Alexandre Point in fifth. Now I'm seeing a time penalty for the 124 of Alexandre Point for causing a collision. And that will mean that Alexandre Point will be demoted to 8th place, which has just happened. Adam Vida, second in Heat 1, out of the race with 3 corners to go, just by the slightest of glancing blows. And it was a mere touch. It was a case of both were braking. De Rademacher still on the road takes the win. So it's 2 for 2 for the Fusion Motorsport driver. Duval second, Rifla, Giustinelli, Grenier, Pellizzari, Buzz, Point, Boots, Krieft, Vandenbosch, De Kock. Granqvist makes up good running. The Swede moves up 7 places to 13th. There's of Panama's Jose Halfen. Aurelien Lemaire drops from 6th at the start to 15th at the finish. Ben Gotts, Len Gökman, Gert de Vries and Sascha Duquet were the last drivers to cross the line. Adam Vida classified a lap down, finishing in 20th place. Ahead of Matty Smoosh, Maurice Verkreuz and Bink van Scheindel are 3 drivers that unfortunately did retire earlier on. Ikbarkers 8 to 1. Now we have our last race in the second phase of the heat stages for the 2025 Karting Champions League Winter Series here at Mariembourg. It's time for KZ2, KZ2 Masters and Super Shifters in the X30 classification. So 10 minutes plus an additional lap. Standing start for these drivers. So Kevin Stewards, who took the race win after 12 laps last time out yesterday afternoon, winning by 1.7 seconds, starts from pole position. He'll have Daniel Tenbach, who finished P3 in yesterday's heat, alongside him on the front row. Renzo Alivax for the Henze Racing team will start on the inside of row number 2. Louis Esser from Germany will be alongside on that row. Jaden Teen and Jens Treur will be on row number 3. Sita van Meert and Niels Koster round out the next row, with Julian Gammon and X30 Super Shifter pole sitter Milo van Baggenhout and the 637. Rounding out the top 10, Anders Elkier and Tristan Bellon round out the top 12, with Rick Hartmann, Milan van Winden, Kevin Delcroix and Martin Versteeg completing the 16-strong grid. 10 minutes plus 1 additional lap. And then after this race, we'll then have a little bit of a breather until 5 to 3 this afternoon. We'll have our last round of respective heats for X30 Senior, which there'll be 2, and the remaining categories will each have 1 heat, thereby concluding the second day of on-track action for Karting Champions League Winter Series 2025. And a big thank you to over 140 people watching on the current YouTube channel for Karting Champions League here on the Saturday live stream. So thank you very much for joining us, and please let us know who you are supporting this weekend. Now, one of the interesting things that I have noticed with a couple of the drivers, apart from them weaving from side to side, you need as much tire temperature to get the traction for the race start. A couple of drivers will slam onto the brakes, of course, front and rear brake systems on these cars. 6-speed shifter gearboxes, and probably finding that you could be going from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in about the same sort of time scale as a modern day 992 model Porsche 911 Carrera. So about 4 seconds, and it's one of the most. This is where you see a lot of, say, you know, KZ, KZ2, KZ2 Masters. You see the Super Shifter class in X30. It is the most challenging, the most brutal. But ultimately, if you are a winner, it is one of the most satisfying categories to compete in. And drivers such as the legend Davide Fore from Italy, who's still in his late 40s, is competing around the world. And of course, the KZ2 Masters class now part of the current FIA European and World Championship structure. But it is a class that is really a true, it's the Formula One of karting. It is all guns blazing, and you are on the limit at every single corner. So we wait for the green flag to fly at the back. Green flag is shown. Marshals move away. It's time to get Heat 2 for shifter card action underway here at Karting Champions League 2025. Lights are out, we're underway. And a brilliant start from the outside of the front row by Renzo Alivax. Kevin Stewards stumbled on the start and lost traction. A couple of drivers also wheel spinning across the off the line. It's basically you have to nail that biting point. I know that one of the team from Henze Racing, Gus Specken, knows all about this class. I know he's here, but you can see that there's also some side-by-side action going into turn 5 into Chemin de Fer. Now they're going to break the timing beam very, very shortly. But it was a great start. Great start by Renzo Alivax, as now the field makes its way through the final couple of corners. And one of the drivers that I'm keeping my keen eyes on, who's made the move to KZ this year, made his KZ2 debut late last year, Jaden Teen. And, well, it's Renzo Alibak's leading, and that was I think it was Kevin Stehauer diving up the inside of Daniel Tembak. Jens Treur is also in this mix. Jaden Teen rounding out the top 5. Young man from the Netherlands, Jens Treur. Well, Daniel Tembak's found himself down into 4th place, so Jens Treur also moved up into P3. Now they head into Chemin de Fer once again. And Jens Treur running on the Croc Promotions chassis with DJK Racing. And now dive for the move for the race lead, and that was Stehauer. And now we're going to see a change of the race lead on the conclusion of lap number 2, and diving up the inside to mug the lot of them, that was Jens Treur. That was inspired by the 442 from the Netherlands. He just chomped, he was chomping at the bit. He dived up the inside, went, thank you very much, I'll see you later. And Stehauer went for the move on Alibak's, and just Treur was there, just went, right, that's my window of opportunity. And he got through without even hesitating. He dived to the inside, instant cat-like reaction. And now we've got a new race leader here on lap 3. Jens Treur, fastest in the opening sector. Well, Sita van Miert in the 440 has also done the same and has gone quicker than anybody else. So Sita van Miert finished 11th in the previous heat, and that is a change for 3rd position. So Daniel Tembak through on Renzo Alibak's. And it's shifter cut musical chairs at the moment. So Jens Treur has moved up from 6th on the grid at the start and now leads the way. So Kevin Stehauer looks to be in 2nd. Daniel Tembak in 3rd, I believe. 4th will be Renzo Alibak's. Jaden Teen is also closing in. Julian Kamen from the Netherlands in the 429 has also made some headway. So Treur leads by nearly half a second. Stehauer in P2, Tembak 3rd. Alibak's drops to 4th and has got Jaden Teen, Julian Kamen and Zita van Miert not too far behind. Zita, she is showing some good pace here, improving in the opening sector. Is the 440 for the Belgium, the National Auto Club Excelsior, or in other words, the Belgian team, running on the Sodi karts. Jaden Teen, also running with Belgium Racing, is also going to be doing multiple campaigns in KZ2 this year. He's joining CPB Sport this season, and there goes Teen up the inside, wheel to wheel, side pod to side pod, and that was neat. That was millimetre perfect by the 459. And Alibak's gave Jaden Teen enough room to make the move stick. So coming up to just over halfway through this penultimate heat for KZ2 Masters and X30 Super Shifter. And at the moment, well, with regards to the other classes, Niels Koster has dropped all the way down to 13th overall, which means he's lost the lead in KZ2 Masters. Kevin Delcroix has now got that position and is currently up 4 spots from 15th, currently runs 11th. And in terms of X30 Super Shifter, well, Tristan Bellon in the 649 currently runs as the leader of the class but overall runs P12 at the minute. The leaders making their way down into Chemin de Fer once again here on lap number 7. Kevin Stehauer, new fastest lap of the race, 53.957. And Jens Strø, well, these two know each other. There's been plenty of battles. They have competed against each other in the Chrono Karting KZ2 National Championship. Chrono Karting run by Gabi and Tom van der Werf. He also had assistance by Karting Champions League for their live stream provision, as there goes Stehauer up the inside on Trø at T1, but Trø's going to look to fight back. Oh, you know what? Stehauer put the frighteners a little bit on him there, just to say, right, you are not coming through. But Kevin, you've still got just over 3 minutes and change, plus a lap to go. So it's not over yet. Wondering whether Jaden Teen and Renzo Alibax can close in on Daniel Tenbach. And Tenbach and Teen have been pretty much running about the same pace. Teen is about half a tenth quicker. That was a 54.308 for the Dutch driver last time round. And his countryman just up ahead, who's 9 tenths up the road, 54.357. So not much in it in terms of pure pace. But as I said, it's very, very physically demanding. Sita van Miert, she's very close to closing in and possibly passing Gillian Cameron. We've got to battle a little bit further back. I think that's possibly, I'm not too sure if that might have been Kevin Delcroix and Niels Koster battling over 12th and 13th respectively. Jaden Teen is trying to keep defensive ahead of Renzo Alibax. So just under 2 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. And, well, Kevin Stehauer is starting to pull a little bit of a gap over Jens Strø, and Strø is now nearly half a second adrift. Jaden Teen in the next minute and 35 plus an additional lap, so call that about 2 minutes and 20 worth of racing. He's got to try and see if he can close in and pass Daniel Tenbach in front of him, so Tenbach 0.81 of a second in front. Into Chemin de Fer go the drivers from second, well, third, fourth, and backwards. And now they're going to the escargot section to break the timing beam. New fastest overall first sector by Kevin Stehauer. 50, so that was a 30, his last lap was a 53.736. Looks like he's on course to beat that again. A 35.693 in sector 1. 18s, oh, he was 41 thousandths off. And now we go pretty much, I think, on to the penultimate lap of the race. And still, you can feel some tension in the air. There is Gillian Cameron and Sita van Miert. They are very much running line astern of each other as the leaders head into an exit out of Chemin de Fer for what will be the penultimate time. Renzo Alibax and Jaden Teen still battling away over fourth place, and Jaden Teen finished behind. Finished behind Tenbach. Jens Strø last time out finished 6th and is on for a second place finish. Last lap is underway for the first set of heats today, and then we go into the second set of heats in just over 35, in around about 35 minutes time. But Kevin Stehauer has done exactly what he needed to do to keep that advantage. Jens Strø has been the closest competitor to him, and at one point was in front of the 4-1-1. But Kevin Stehauer running on the Birolot, privateer driver. And Jens Strø on the Crop Promotion DJK Racing Run entry is holding on to second, an improvement from the previous race. But with that kind of gap, nearly 9 tenths of a second, it's pretty much all said and done. 2 heats so far, and it's going to be 2 wins. Kevin Stauhauer takes the win once again. Jens Strø finished 6th in Heat 1. Finishes Heat 2 in 2nd. Daniel Tembach, a nice couple of third place finishes in a row. Jaden Teen, 4th place, the 2nd race in a row. Renzo Alibak, 2nd in Heat 1, now occupies 5th place in Heat 2. Zita van Meert in 6th ahead of Louis Esser, with Julian Kamen actually dropping down to 8th at the flag. And Zelkier and Tristan Bellon round out the top 10. Rick Hartman, Kevin Delacroix and Niels Koster round out the top 13. Milan van Winden, Milo van Bagenhout and Martin Versig round out the finishing order, with Tristan Bellon winning X30 Super Shifter. It's one win apiece between now Kevin Delacroix and Niels Koster for KZ2 Masters Honours. And that is, as they say, is that for the second stages of heats here at Karting Champions League Winter Series for 2025. Okay, so the second round of heats for the inaugural Karting Champions League Winter Series here at Karting de Fagnes International Raceway in Mariembourg are in the books. We're going to have a little bit of a respite, so in half an hour's time we'll be back here on the live stream, as there is the timetable, the final set of heats to conclude day 2 of this inaugural event, with X30 Senior Heat 5 and Heat 6 up first. Then we'll have the third set of heats, which will take us to the end of Saturday for Iame Mini, X30 Junior, KZ2 Masters, and X30 Super Shifter. We'll see you in just half an hour's time here on the live stream on the official Karting Champions League YouTube channel. Welcome back to the third and final stage of the heats for the 2025 Karting Champions League Winter Series here at Mariembourg. Alex Goldschmidt trackside, here to call the play-by-play on the remaining 5 heats of the day. And then tomorrow we go into super heats and then the finals. And after that we'll find out who will be in our inaugural Karting Champions League Winter Series winners. And as you can see, here at Mariembourg, time fast approaching 5 to 3 in the afternoon. Temperature around about 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. So still a requirement for woolly hats, gilets, big puffer jackets just to keep everybody warm. So it is very, very cold outside. Looks like we may have, say, same sort of conditions for tomorrow. Very cold and very freezing in the morning. But let's get underway back with the racing action. Penultimate heat, heat 5 for X30 Senior B versus D. Here is your starting grid. Alessandro Tudisca, can he finally get a win on the board here for the inaugural Karting Champions League Winter Series? Well, he's got Sem van der Heyden alongside him on the front row. CJ Bennett and Luca Mulau rounding out the front 2 rows. Casper Norman and Marcus Gloom on row 3. Tobias Norman and Rafael Bulau rounding out the top 4 rows. Jori Schoens and Mirko Wouters complete the top 10. Rafael Linders will look to have another bit of better luck this time around. Rafael will be joined by Noel van Vorveld on the 6th row. Senna Meunier and Leon Leinsveld round out row 7. Keanu Rollins and Gaspar Delbar, row 8. Noah Hubert, Hugo van der Velden and Marit Schumann with Zino Falca round out the 20-strong grid. 2 wins apiece for both Matthias van der Kerkhoff from Victory Lane, and with that Kevin Lantinga on the Croc Promotion chassis has also picked up 2 race wins. So drivers being instructed now to go onto their formation lap. So with van der Kerkhoff and Lantinga against each other in the next heat means we'll only have 1 driver that will win 3 heats out of 3. So the field makes its way through on Chemin de Fer and then heads into Escargot before we get underway with our penultimate X30 Senior Heat. And a big thank you to a good friend of mine. Greetings to Mariembourg, my friend. I'm glad we'll see each other later on this year. Tom Müller, thanks for the message. Appreciate it. So it is now under starters orders for Heat 5. B versus D, X30 Senior. Who will be the new winner to join Lantinga and van der Kerkhoff? We've got 10 minutes plus an additional lap to go to find that out as we are revs up, lights out, and we're underway. Oh, Sem van der Heyden gets wheels tapped by CJ Bennett. Looks like the Dutch driver has had a stumble and is way too wide out of turn 2 from the front row of the grid. And Sem van der Heyden is pretty much not having a great start to the race itself. Meantime, Casper and Tobias Norman look to have... Oh, and we've had someone go off at turn number 4. That was an exit stage right, if ever you saw one, unlike Matthias Minneschultz I witnessed with the brake failure during qualifying. So it is the case that Alessandro Tudisca leads the way, and it's like he's trying to escape over to the French border. So, Alessandro Tudisca from RSD Karting is moving away from the rest of the opposition and leads after the opening lap ahead of CJ Bennett by a second. Casper Norman, Tobias Norman, Luca Moulard, Sam van der Heyden, Rafael Linders, Mirko Wouters, Noel van Vonveld and Jori Schoens round out the top 10. Noah Hubert was the driver that went exit stage right off of turn number 4 and has dropped to the tail end of the field. And Sam van der Heyden was lucky, very, very lucky indeed, and managed to get away with it. Currently sitting in P6 at the moment. So, Casper and Tobias Norman, new recruits at KCR Racing. They're going to be competing with them over a lot of races this season. They've got their teammate behind them, Sam van der Heyden, who's got through on Luca Moulin, the second highest placed of the Victory Lane karts in this particular adventure at Heat 5. And, well, Mirko Wouters has made his way up into P7 and puts in a 57.2 flat over the last lap to take the fastest lap of the racers. Sam van der Heyden got the elbows out and Luca Moulin got through, and that was on Casper Norman. So the two Danes now have got a couple of karts in between them, one of which is their teammate and the other one is one of the opposition. But one of the other things that you want to do, as I said either earlier on today or yesterday, that one of the biggest things you want to do if you are in a team of drivers, and there's a lot of drivers, you want to beat your teammates. Now there's going to be a possibility of Mirko Wouters trying to get through. And Wouters, does he get the job done? Yes, he did. Nice and neatly through. Made the move stick by the inside of turn 2, the driver with Eichmann's Grand Prix. But Alessandro Tudisca has managed to dart away into the distance a little bit here. He's 1.5 seconds up the road in the race lead. And more to the point, there is an opportunity for Tobias Norman and Sam van der Heyden to try and work together, and Sam has other ideas in his head. He went, okay, you're one of the new recruits. I know you're quick, but you've got to fall a little bit into line. I don't think it was a scare tactic. It was just like sort of marking territory, if you will. So more to the point, that just goes to show that Sam van der Heyden still has pace. And Tobias Norman being chased down by Luca Moulin in the number 308. And a little bit of a drama for Noah Hubert once again. 217's down from 17th on the grid and now runs 20th. Biggest mover at the minute is Zino Falca for Larea GT1 Racing. Started in last place, now up to 14th and could be climbing the order a little bit. There he is in the back of shots. And he is behind Keanu Vellens. There's Jori Schoens trying to close in on Rafael Boulard. Boulard, X30 Junior and KA 100, 148 runner last year in the Iame Series Benelux. Now moves up to X30 Senior this season. But CJ Bennett is now the Irish cork in the bottle. And he has been dropped considerably on that previous lap. Tudisca was a heck of a lot quicker. It was about half a second. Oh, we've had drama for one of the Normans. One of the Danes has gone off, and there's been an incident with two KCR Racing teammates have come together, and it's Sam van der Heyden and Tobias Norman. I don't believe it. They were squabbling over position. And I can understand from a driver mentality about how much adrenaline is flowing through their veins. And I've just seen an in-race penalty. Gaspar Del Bar gets a 5-second time penalty post-race as race control have found that the driver just caused pushing, which meant that it's what we would call in the United Kingdom good old ABC, advantage by contact. So Sam van der Heyden and Tobias Norman are out of the adventure here in their final heat of the weekend. That's not going to help them with regards to where they place, whether it's Super Heats A or B. We've had another one come through, and Sam van der Heyden, insult to injury, 5-second time penalty, pushing. So van der Heyden was the instigator, it seems, in the eyes of race control. But Alessandro Tedesca is doing a really, really good job at the moment. He's now 4.1 seconds up the road. And it's Bennett and Moulin who ran second and third. Wouters now fourth ahead of Casper Norman for KCR Racing. Wouters with Eichmann's Grand Prix. You can tell by that very, very bright yellow that you can't exactly miss. If anyone was to ask Google Maps to do a drone shot of Mariembourg at this moment in time, you can't exactly miss what an Eichmann's Grand Prix livery looks like. It's bold and it's noticeable. So 2.5 minutes to go. Lap 8 completed by Alessandro Tedesca. No fastest lap this time. He's a bit more on cruise control. CJ Bennett, his best result so far. Well, he's had a DNF, he's had a 5th place, and now he's on course for a 2nd. But it is going to be 3 different winners so far. We could have one driver that we'll have one driver that has 1 victory, and that pretty much at this moment in time is going to be RSD Karting's Alessandro Tedesca. Bearing in mind, his first race nearly ended up being a bit of a calamity for him, but he made sure that he put in the qualifying style laps and ended up 6th, even with the 6th after a 5-second time penalty for a nose cone, but he would have finished 5th. He finished 5th on the road, and there is the move that Luca Moulin has been waiting to make, and that is through on CJ Bennett. So Tedesca has had so Tedesca has had a 6th place finish, 2nd, and now moves up 1 more place. He finished behind Matthijs van der Kerkhoff. Matthias Marschalt has made up the most positional gains this weekend. He made up 17 in Heat 2, in his first heat, and then made up another 11. So that is effectively 28 positions gained by the driver from KCR, but we are going on to the penultimate lap. And there are the 2 victory lane carts. And it is Luca Moulin now ahead of CJ Bennett. Race leader is 4.5 seconds up the road. Alessandro Tedesca has been waiting for the opportunity to get a win on the board here for the inaugural Karting Champions League Winter Series here in 2025. And now it's going to come to fruition. Timer is counting down as Tedesca will be through the exit of Chemin de Fer as we speak. 3, 2, 1. Timer has expired. So good run by Alessandro Tedesca. Managed to make sure his intentions were the right ones, and it has paid dividends here in this 5th penultimate X30 Senior Heat of the event. Last lap board is out. Tedesca sees it first. Then it will be Moulin, then Bennett. Casper Norman now back ahead of Mirko Wouters. The diminutive figure of Senna Meunier is now rounding out the top 6. Ahead of Rafael Linders, who looks to be closing out onto the number 248. Another driver is Meunier that has moved up into seniors, ran in juniors last year. Looks like we'll have 18 runners and riders out of the 20 that started this race just over 11 minutes ago. But, well, the wait has been worth it. And it's going to be the case that Alessandro Tudisca, the Belgian from RSD Karting, powers up the hill, full throttle, and takes the checkered. Tudisca finally breaks the duck. Second will be Moulard. Third will be Bennett. Casper Norman, Mirko Wouters, Senna Meunier, Raphael Leenders, Marcus Klum, Keanu Vellens, and DNF in Heat 2. His second heat, his third heat, meant that Leon Leinsfeld for the Thierry Del Rey karting team takes 10th spot. Zino Falca started last, finished 11th as we're waiting for a few more of our drivers to cross the stripe and take the checkered. Rafael Boulard takes 12th ahead of Noel van Voornveld. Joris Schoens will be 13th. Then we've got Gaspar Delbar, and he will get a 5-second time penalty. And that will still keep him in 15th place, ahead of Noah Hubert. Hugo van der Velde, Marit Schumann being the last of the classified finishers. And unfortunately, an incident involving Sam van der Heyden and Tobias Norman through escargot meant the pair would retire on the spot on lap 6. But Tudisca makes it 3 different winners in X30 Senior so far this weekend. Now time to see which driver out of the following two are going to be a three-time winner here in the heat stages for X30 Senior at Karting Champions League Winter Series 2025. Here's your grid. It's Kevin Lantinga and Matthias van der Kerkhoff on the front row. Quinten van Leeuwen and Yanni Bouillet on row 2. Devon Hagland joined by Annabelle Bryan on row 3. Kevin Bakker, Dinan de Vos, row 4. Charlie Gloom and Luca Montebello on the next row, and they complete the top 10. Max Hezel and Walter Bergano on row 6. Tristan Kroon joined by Roxanne Lantinga, Raffaele Santacorno and Mathis Renet with Leon Lambrecht, Gazot House, Jesse Podderdijk, Mathis Marchalt and Thomas van Vliet. That is your 21-strong grid. A little bit of a slight delay by a couple of minutes due to the clean-up operation. A big thank you to Garage Duval for the recovery vehicle and for the team operating that and getting the carts off of the circuit as much as possible. And a big thank you to the Marshall team from here at Karting Club Mariembourg for their assistance with helping this event to run very, very smoothly. A big thank you to all of the team there for their assistance. They are wrapped up with multiple layers and braving the elements. So once again, 10 minutes plus an additional lap. That will conclude the heat stage, the heat stages for X30 Senior, before we go on to our final 3 races of day 2 out of 3. So Lantinga took the win in his second heat by nothing. It was a drag race to the line, and it was a brilliant one to watch. But now we get to see Lantinga versus van der Kerkhoff. I'm rather excited about this one, as you can probably tell. It's one of those things that where you see these drivers really, really pushing the envelope, and when you've got two very, very sturdy competitors in the form of Kevin Lantinga and Matthias van der Kerkhoff, expect the unexpected. And that's very much what we could experience here today. So, into the tram lines. Revs up, lights are on, and we are underway. We are under green flag conditions, but we've had an incident through T1. 383. Dearie me, that was not too sure. Matthias van der Kerkhoff. Oh, right, Matthias van der Kerkhoff was in the mechanical, always in the repair area. So Matthias van der Kerkhoff should have been on the front row. And it was the 383 of Annabelle Bryan that I saw through turn 1, pointing towards the apex rather than pointing towards the racing line onto the corner. So Annabelle Bryan has got to do a very, very big run, and so has Matthias van der Kerkhoff. The field makes its way through the opening sector, and Lantinga at the minute has done a 39.125 through the opening sector, so he's going to have a lead. It's not going to be by much. Now, who is following him? Quinten van Leeuwen. Oh, that's old chestnut again. Devon Hagland, Charlie Gloom, Max Hezel, Tristan Kroon, Dinan de Vos, Kevin Bakker, Luca Montebello and Wouter Bergano round out the top 10. Now on Mirshout watch, up to 15th already with a minute and a half completed. Expects Mirshout to be at least in the top 5 by the checkered flag, at least. But Lantinga and van Leeuwen, they have battled against each other earlier on in the weekend, and it comes to a crux here. Now, Matthias van der Kerkhoff, I've only just seen break the timing beam about 30 seconds ago through sector number 2, through sector 1, which ends just before the exit point of Escargot. But now van Leeuwen dives to the inside. Lantinga with the over-under, can't get it completed. And van der Kerkhoff is out. Van der Kerkhoff, the technical drama has not continued, which effectively, even if Kevin Lantinga finishes in second, he will be the top place driver at the end of today when everything's been confirmed and been ratified. Kevin Lantinga is going to be a very, very happy man. But I can tell you this, Lantinga will want to win this race. He will not want anyone else to steal the thunder from him. But he's got Devon Hagelen and Quintin van Leeuwen, two young upstarts, two new additions to the most premier category in X30 competition, that is Senior X30. Hagelen looked for a move up the inside at turn one, hit the curb, drifted the kart wide, and was not able to get through on Lantinga. But in the meantime, a little bit further behind, off the circuit goes Charlie Gloom. Max Hezel forcing his way up the inside and taking the spot. Lantinga is going to look to the outside, sweep it round through Chemin de Fer, and on the run into Escargot, and he dives through at the inside. That's brilliant. That is one of the places where you can make it work, but you've got to tee it up coming out of Chemin de Fer. And Kevin Lantinga, that was an absolute beauty, my friend. Well done. And it was risk versus reward. He risked it for the biscuit, and he got the reward he wanted. He got the race lead back. Now Devon Hagelen looking up the inside of Quintin van Leeuwen. Van Leeuwen, there might have been a little bit of sidewall scraping between the two, and that allowed Tristan Kroon to get through for third place. So Hagelen up to second, Kroon up to third. Van Leeuwen now fourth. Max Hezel in the 399. Not that far behind. New addition to the Falcon Racing team, and that was the team that Quintin van Leeuwen was originally with last year as a junior. Hagelen has stayed faithful to Fusion Motorsport, but Kevin Lantinga trying to see if he can sprint away into the distance. Right, jump start has been called against Yannick Bouillet in the 214, who's now dropped down to 13th place. 5-second time penalty post-race for the Belgian. As once again we go into halfway, Charlie Gloom has put in the new fastest lap of the race, and the top six covered by just under 1.3 seconds after the opening 5 laps. Charlie Gloom 55.623. That is a move on Dinan de Vos by Wouter Bergano, the other one of the Fusion drivers in this race. And look at the train there. Oh, that's wonderful to see. 5 karts all in a row, in each other's coattails, through turn 5 at breakneck speed at over 95, 100 kph going through there. But last time round, Lantinga did have a lead of just under a tenth of a second. That gap is probably more than likely going to either stay the same. Across the line they go again. 0.78, and Hagelen dives up the inside for the race lead. We're on the beginning of lap number 7. New fastest lap by, it's our good old friend Matthias Marschalt. Now up halfway through the grid. Quintin van Leeuwen now dives up the inside of Tristan Kroon. But Charlie Gloom just got it all wrong. Went into the side of the Falcon Racing driver, and Charlie Gloom ends up backwards. That's a real shame for the youngster from Belgium. Not exactly what you want. There was an opportunity. Van Leeuwen saw the door open. Gloom thought he could go through there as well, and then everything else went horribly wrong. Right, 2-2-8. Luca Montebello gets a 3-second time penalty post-race for 2 wheels outside of the tram line, so broke formation before the red lights went out at the start. So Luca Montebello at the minute will probably end up, at the minute would be demoted to 10th, so that effectively puts Matthias Marschalt de facto 9th in the amendment as there. So Charlie Gloom drops down to 10th. Kevin Bakker was 7th, now is 11th behind the 245. So Devon Hagelen is looking, what a way this would be. You come in as an X30 senior driver. You're going to be doing the FIA Academy Trophy Senior this year as the Dutch representative through CNAF, the Dutch ASN. And you get an opportunity to pick up your first X30 senior win, and that will inspire him with confidence, but also will give the other drivers in the X30 senior divisions they might prick their ears pricked up a little bit here. But in the meantime, well, that is Tristan Kuhn that has been passed. Looks like that's Luca Montebello behind him, and Max Hissel from Germany, I believe, has just gone through, if that is the 399, which it looks to be the case. So just under 2 minutes to go. Devon Hagglund has a lead of just under half a second, but well, it's like it was in the very first heat. Well, it was in Heat 4 and it was in Heat 1. Kevin Lantinga versus Quinten van Leeuwen and Devon Hagglund, and all three of them have placed in the top 5. The thing is, Lantinga's got 2 wins already. 2, 3, 4. Oh, Wouterberger has just got a time penalty for pushing. But it is going to come down to at the moment it seems to be advantage Hagglund, but Lantinga seems to be very, very racy indeed. And Lantinga was nearly 2/10 quicker on the previous lap. Next time round we'll go on to not just the penultimate lap of this race, but also the penultimate lap of the 6th and final heat for X30 Senior. Then we'll have 3 races to go to conclude Saturday. So 2 to go, set for a 12-lap complete race distance. And it's half a second covering the top 3, and then it's less than that. It's 0.337 of a second covering the battle for P4. Max Hessel leads it in 399 from Germany. Tristan Kuhn and Luca Montebello. Montebello's basically been factored out of this due to having a 3-second time penalty post-race. But next time around it will be the final lap. But Lantinga is now pushing. Now trying to see if he can put the frighteners on Devon Hagglund. That's easier said than done, even though this is the first race weekend for Devon and both Quinten as an X30 senior. So we're about to come through and start the last lap of the heat stages for X30 senior for the 2025 Karting Champions League Winter Series. Here we go, up the inside. Lantinga went for it. Had the run of momentum, but Hagglund was able to carry so much speed around the outside of the first corner. So that just goes to show how different things can be with certain drivers, that you think, yeah, I can make it, and then the other person's like, yeah, hold my soft drink, I'm going around the outside. But there is still an opportunity. If Hagglund does get it wrong, then Lantinga and Van Leeuwen will be quick to pounce. Through into Escargot for the final time on lap 12 out of 12. And Hagglund was slightly quicker than both drivers behind him, but it's going to be the important run up the hill through the final right-hander. Here we go. And it's going to be a victory. 4 different winners out of the 6 heats. It's Devon Hagglund that picks up the win in X30 Senior Heat 6. A versus C. Thumbs up and a fist bump between him and Kevin Lantinga. That's your way to make friends in the paddock, but also close rivals. So well done. Devon Hagglund from the Netherlands for Fusion Motorsport picks up his first ever race win as a senior driver. And, well, Kevin Lantinga didn't need to win the 3rd one. He wanted to win the 3rd one. But he's got the best results out of 41 drivers here this weekend, which effectively puts him, by my calculations, as pole sitter for Super Heat A. Quintin van Leeuwen rounds out third place, ahead of Max Hazel, with Tristan Kroon rounding out the top 5. Good to see another two Falcon Racing teammates not come together and round out the top 5. Mathis Merschalt, biggest mover of the weekend so far. That was another 14 places added to the 28 he's already done. 42 spots. Merschalt is in with a shout tomorrow, believe you me, pardon the pun. Luca Montebello in 7th. Nice work by Roxanne Lantinga to take 8th, having started 14th, with Charlie Gloom, Annabelle Bryan, Yanni Bouillet, Thomas Van Vliet, Kevin Barker, Raffaele Santacono, Wouter Bergano, Dinan de Vos, Mathis Renet, Kazot House, Leon Lambrecht, and Jesse Polderdijk being the last of the classified finishers. And unfortunately, no Matthias van der Kerkhoff on the front row outside of Kevin Lantinga. Came out onto the track, technical problems still there, and retired very much on the opening lap. But there it is, X30 Senior Heat stages completed. Next up, we go to the third and final heat for Iame Mini. Now it's time for the third and final heat of this event for Iame Mini. Milan Beku, 2 wins so far, both from pole position. Could it be a clean sweep for the 899? He starts from pole position once again. Louis Boots and Georges Desmais ran out the top 3, ahead of Didier Dedale and Louis Patinot to complete the top 5. Rounding out the top 10, it's Sem Sazlik, Dorian Grandjean, Julien van der Cotelet, Vin Wines and Axel Lienders completing the top 10. Matteo Campobello starts 11th, ahead of Joshua Lauriston. Bruce Chirino, Kickbackers, Luc Clay, Kian Tenhav, Bram Konings, Maxime van Kreen, Lasse van der Weide, and Milo Cornel. So we will see how things go over the next 7 minutes, plus an additional lap. The drivers will now start their formation lap. So the temperature is the highest it's going to be all day long, and we are approximately just under 1 hour and 40 minutes from sunset. So we are under starters orders for the final time for Iame Mini here for Karting Champions League Winter Series 2025. And Beku could do the three-peat. here in the heat stages, which would put the youngster in the 899 from Eichmann's Grand Prix on pole position for tomorrow's final. And the youngsters are keeping us waiting. Down to Beku and Boots on the front row of the grid to control the start. So drivers instructed to slow. They split, head into the tram lines. And for the final time, revs up, lights on, lights are out. We're underway. Good start by Milan Beku as the field makes its way through into turn one. But we've had a multiple card incident. One going up into the air, one backwards into the barriers. We've got yellow flags off of Marshall Post 2. I think that's Marshall Post 2. 3 carts beached on the outside of the exit of the first corner. All 3 drivers, however, I'm happy to report are okay. They've got out of the carts and looks like Marshall teams are on site and assisting the drivers. So we go from what will be 19 to 16 drivers. There were 3 that came together and then one did a Knight Rider turbo boost jump over somebody else. Just by being caught out, you can be completely unsighted. And the 3 drivers, Axel Leenders, Bruce Chirino and Matteo Campobello. They are now out of the race, but they're all to safety. And right, we've got a yellow flag on the start-finish straight, which meant that Georges Desmet had to slot in behind Milan Beku. So actually, it's Axel Leenders I've just seen. So Bruce Chirino, Axel Leenders and Matteo Campobello, the 3 drivers. So 866, 855, 875. And again, once again, big thank you to the marshals for being able to deal with that situation and get that sorted out very, very quickly indeed. So through into the final corner we go. We are about to complete our second lap of racing. Georges Desmet has set the fastest lap of the race. In the meantime, 1 minute 5.333. Come across the line to complete lap 2. And Lewis Boots now back up into P3. Who is about 7/10 behind Georges Desmet. He's going to start closing in on them. He's bringing along with him for the ride Julien van der Kotelet for the Henze Racing team. In 4th, Dorian Grandjean, the 817 from Belgium, is now up into P5. Running with the team based out of this very circuit, Euro Karting. Okay, 854. Joshua Lorison has just been pinged by race control for overtaking under yellow flag conditions. So that will probably be why they probably saw the yellow flag on the start-finish straight and saw that it happened. Well, Georges Desmet did the right thing, saw the yellow flag, was nearly alongside Milan Beku and pulled in behind him. So a very, very good bit of judgment. One of the big things that these drivers are instructed of. And effectively, more to the point, you are told in the briefing what is expected of you by the race director. And everyone knows what these flags mean. I know that I always say to drivers, oh, briefing's boring. I said, yes, but you've got to think about it. It's got to be reinforced. It's a mandatory requirement. So every driver knows what each flag means, from blue flag to yellow flag to full course yellow when we have the slow boards out, which neutralises the race. Then, of course, the slippery surface flag, which is the yellow and red, with lines going down, for instance. So they've got to be very, very careful. So Louis Péternot sets the fastest lap of the race in 6th position. And he's about 4/10 behind Dorian Grandjean. And Grandjean is closing in on Van der Cotelet and was just over a 10th quicker than both him and, it was a 10th quicker than Van der Cotelet and also Louis Boots. So can Dorian Grandjean get an opportunity to go for P3 by the end of the race? He's going to try and get through on I think he tried to get through on Van der Cotelet. Van der Cotelet did give Grandjean enough room to get through, but space was fast running out when the driver in front of you decides to turn the corner and close that gap. Milan Becu still holding on to the race lead after 5 laps, 8 laps scheduled, and there is a move. That's Dorian Grandjean finally getting through on Julien Van der Cotelet, and that is for 4th place on the road. Now Grandjean can go chasing after Louis Boots up the road in P3. And Grandjean was only 4 and a bit tenths of a second behind. And it's going to be dependent on their splits. Louis Boots was probably about over 85 thousandths of a second quicker than Grandjean in the first sector on the previous lap. There's Didier Dardale closing in on Louis Péternot in the 837. So they go through Escargot. Dorian Grandjean, 42 thousandths slower than Louis Boots through the first sector. But Grandjean was quicker than Boots on the previous lap. 2 to go. Becu still leads. Dismet in 2nd place. Now it's all about mechanical sympathy and bring the car home. The higher up you are, the better off you are in terms of your grid position for the superheat. But Julien Van der Cotelet lost out to Louis Péternot and Didier Dardale up the inside. Péternot off onto the grass and the dust on the right side exit point of turn 3. And there is Dorian Grandjean closing in on the back bumper of Louis Boots for 3rd place. As the time expires, our leaders come through Escargot for the penultimate time here on lap number 7. And Georges Dismet fancies an opportunity at Milan Becu to stop the win streak for being 100% so far. Becu took pole position in time qualifying early yesterday afternoon and is now going on to be 1 lap away for having a clean sweep. And here goes Dorian Grandjean up the inside at turn 1 at the start of the last lap, but he runs wide. And Louis Boots looking to get through. And so does Julien Van der Cotelet, so does Didier Dardale, and Van der Cotelet nearly came unstuck coming out of turn 2. And they've got to be very careful through 4. Mechanical sympathy, drivers. Mechanical sympathy. I know they're racing. I know they won't hear me. Sometimes they don't even listen to their mechanics. But the big point here is how can they get these carts home. But more to the point, Dorian Grandjean gets through on Julien Van der Cotelet. But it's going to be out of the final corner. It's going to be the run to the line here for P1. Who's going to win it? Is it going to be the clean sweep? Checkered flag waves. Eichmann's Grand Prix and Milan Becu. Steel heat stay with a total perfect score. Milan Becu pole position and 3 wins on the bounce. That is a guaranteed pole position for Superheat A tomorrow. Becu wins by just under a 10.5 from Georges Dismet. Louis Boots in 3rd. Didier Dardale, Julien Van der Cotelet They round out the top 5. Dorian Grandjean, Louis Peternot, and Milo Cornil, who started last, was excluded in qualifying, finished in P8. Vin Wines and Joshua Lauritsen, who will get a 5-second time penalty for overtaking under yellows. That means that Kik Burkers will be bumped up to 10th place. Joshua Lauritsen will end up 12th behind Burkers and Maxime von Kreen. Sem Saslik 13th, ahead of Bram Konings, Kian ten Hav, Lasse van der Weide and Luc Clay, rounding out the 17 finishers. And on turn 1, lap 1, we lost Axel Linders, Matteo Campobello and Bruce Chirino. Up next, the final heat for Junior X30. 2 more races to go before we conclude day 2 of the 2025 Karting Champions League Winter Series. Here at Mariembourg, it's time for Heat 3, race 14 of the meeting for X30 Junior. Here is your starting grid. Timio Rifla starts once again on pole position. Will be joined by Stig de Rademaker on the front row. Aurelio Giustinelli and Alexandre Point round out row 2. Noah Crinier and Aurélien Lemaire rounds out row 3. Adam Vida and Yannis van den Bosch on row 4 with Maurice Vercroys and Antoine Duval rounding out the top 10. Lucas Pellizzari and Lorenz de Kock round out the top 12. Ahead of Antoine Boots, Bing van Scheidel, Danny Beurs, then Gökman, Jose Halfen, Sacha Duquet, Ben Gotts, Ludwig Granqvist, Schut de Vries, and we've got Didier Kieft, Mathis Mouche rounding out the 23 strong grid. After this, we'll have one more race to go, which will be KZ2 Masters, and then X and X30 Super Shifters before we take a little bit of a respite and get ourselves ready for tomorrow for finals day. We'll also have a driver parade as well between the Super Heats and the finals. 99 drivers from 9 different nations ventured to the southern parts, the more French-speaking parts of Belgium, as we're literally 20 or so minutes away from the French border. Come towards the end of our formation lap here for Heat 3 for X30 Junior. 10 minutes plus an additional lap. And then we'll then have our grid decided for the Super Heat tomorrow. Stig de Rademaker has got 2 wins on a row at the minute and could do the same as Milan Beku. But can anybody do anything about it? Schut de Vries will start from the repair area as the drivers roar into the tram lines. Revs up, lights on, lights are out. We're underway. And a good start by Timio Rifla. And Stig de Rademaker looking to keep it around the outside. All one's gone around. And that was the 164 of Aurélien Lemaire, who started up at the outside of row number 3. De Rademaker's got through again at turn 2. Has the same thing happened? I missed it as they, as obviously, excuse me, we had that turn 1 incident. So Stig de Rademaker makes the move to go into the race lead. And 2 wide coming out of Chemin de Fer. And now make their way through into Escargot. So it's de Rademaker, Rifla. And it's then Giustinelli, Grignier versus ahead of Alexandre Point. Then it will be, it looks like Yannis van den Bosch has made a good bit of moves up the order, along with Antoine Duval. And I think is Duval 4th? No, not quite 7th. I was three places off on that. But drama for not just Aurélien Lemaire. Lorenz de Kock has also dropped down the order. The youngster from Belgium who was in the fight for the mini title in the Iame Series Benelux. Got off to a good start last year at this particular circuit in April of 2024. So Stig de Rademaker leads the way by over 0.8 of a second. Timio Rifla leading his teammate Aurelio Giustinelli. So the 2 RSD karting entries running 2nd and 3rd at the minute. Noah Crinier running with the Euro karting team, last year's Iame Series Benelux mini champion. and pretty much dominated proceedings over the 5 rounds, especially in the latter half of the year. 3 perfect scores in 3 rounds. Alexandre Poix, Antoine Duval now up to 6th, having got past Adam Vida, who might be struggling a little bit here, but don't count the 168 from the Netherlands out. Drivers make their way down in towards turn number 5. And well, Mathis Mouche has retired. The Luxembourger in the 182, running on the Cosmic chassis, has retired on the opening lap. Right, penalty for 2 wheels outside the tram lines. 3 seconds post-race penalty for Germany's Len Göckmann, for Ebert Motorsport, running on the Lando Norris chassis. Well, Lorenz de Kock all the way down in 21st. Shirt de Vries, who started from the mechanics area, has just come across the line. So everyone apart from Mathis Mouche, who got through sector 1 on the opening lap, but unfortunately pulled the cart into the pits, or may have stopped out on track somewhere. He's not taking any further part in the race. Meantime, Stig de Rademaker is the leading driver at the moment, but Timio Rifla has got an opportunity to try and close that gap. He was over 2/10 quicker in sector 1. Has he managed to close that down in sector 2? Yes, he has. 7.5 tenths is now the lead gap. Adam Vida has started firing on all cylinders, or all cubic centimetres of displacement of the engine to his side. 57.112, and is closing in on Antoine Duval and Noah Grignet. Those are the 2 battling over 4th and 5th. There they are, dive up the inside from Vida. I think that was more than likely that would have been Antoine Duval. So the 168 is now down a position. Adam Vida really hasn't been counted out of the top 10 all weekend long so far. But Timio Rifla gets the gap down to just under 5.5 tenths as we hit half-time in this race. So a good job there by the 128. Now there's an opportunity to try and close that gap in to Stig de Rademaker. With just over half of the race left to run, plus an additional lap, there is an opportunity. As Adam Vida makes a move. And once again, another driver loses a position. And, oh, that's more to the point. That's going to be, I think, Antoine Duval. As, well, Noah Grignet. Younger driver, shorter driver in terms of height, so you can see the varying how. I mean, I'm really impressed when a driver goes from mini to junior. We've got a move happening here, and that was, I think that might have been possibly Bing van Schijndel. Yeah, looks like Bing van Schijndel in the 107 trying to get through on Danny Beurs. And Beurs on the X30 chassis manages to get the position back as they are bumper to bumper going through into Chemin de Fer once again. There's the battle between Antoine Duval and Adam Vida. That is the battle for P4. But the gap looks to possibly be closing. Antoine Duval and Adam Vida were both quicker than Aurelio Giustinelli. So Giustinelli had nearly a 10.5 taken out of him on the opening sector. Race leader Stig de Rademaker is the slowest out of the top 5. And he's now got Timio Rifla nearly breathing down the back of his race overalls. Rifla was quicker over both sectors And that gap has gone down to 2/10. So 3 minutes plus an additional lap still to go. And there's every opportunity here for Stig de Rademaker to get the clean sweep. But there is also a possibility that Stig de Rademaker could find himself not winning the race. But we'll find out who does in just over 3.5 minutes time. But de Rademaker is keeping control of this race, running it his way. Lap 8 completed, scheduled for a potential 12 laps of racing. Antoine Duval still holding on to 5th place while still trying to chase down Adam Vida. New fastest lap by Luxembourg's Lucas Belisaire. The Luxembourger running with Euro Karting, 56.638. And that was the previous lap. I'm seeing it quite a lot where drivers are doing personal best, but they're not purple sectors, but it still gets them to be the fastest out there. The closest one after that would be Aurelio Giustinelli, who's just done a personal best, 56.658. Stig de Rademaker's gone purple in sector 1. However, Timio Rifla is still going with. So Rifla has an opportunity at this race victory. Don't count out the 128 from RSD Karting quite yet. As Adam Vida fastest overall in sector number 1 and new fastest lap of the race in the meantime. Gap between 3rd and 4th now stems to 1.4 seconds. We have this plus 3 more to go. So next time around we'll start, well, we'll have completed 10 laps. So it will be 2 to go. And Stig de Rademaker, driver with Fusion Motorsport, still holding on. And Timio Rifla giving good accounts of saying, well, don't worry about just the man in front of me, worry about me as well, because I'm just as quick. Across the line we go. Lap 10 completed, 2 to go. And there's going to be a dive up the inside. And that was Victory Lane's Alexandre Point, I believe, on... Yeah, that's Noah Grenier. So Grenier has been passed. And that is a change for 6th. Leaders coming through now into Chemin de Fer. The approach of it with just this plus 1 more lap to go. Timer has expired. So the only driver this weekend so far that has done a clean sweep in all their respective heats is in Iame Mini. Eichmann's Grand Prix Milan Beku. Last lap underway. Kevin Lantinga was 1 position away of doing his own clean sweep earlier on. But Stig de Rademaker, for the last 3 races, has started every single one of them on the outside of the front row. And, well, Timio Rifla did a really good job to put it on pole position, but has not been able to possibly challenge the driver in front. But this could be for a very, very good reason. It may be the case that Rifla is saving the car. I said the words mechanical sympathy earlier on today, and sometimes you've just got to exercise a little bit of damage control. But Milan Beku has taken 3 wins in Karting Champions League history. Make that another one. Stig de Rademaker from Fusion Motorsport takes the win after 12 laps by just under 0.4 of a second. Drivers coming across the line to complete their race. As well, we do have drivers coming across the line. I'm not too sure. I did hear a possible impact. I'm not 100% sure. Something got hit. Not sure what it was. So But Stig de Rademaker makes it 3 from 3 in X30 Junior. Timio Rifla and Aurelio Giustinelli ran out the top 3 with Adam Vida from... Sorry, I've lost my chain of thought there for a minute. Henza Racing Team takes 4th ahead of Antoine Duval, who, with Vida taking the fastest lap of the race of 56.416. Noah Crinier pips Alexandre Point at the line for 6th ahead of Bing van Scheindel. Yannis van den Bosch and Maurice Verkroijs rounding out the top 10. Lucas Pellizzari, 11th head of Antoine Boots with Didier Krief, Danny Burs, Ludwig Granquist, and rounding out the top 15, Jose Halfen, Ben Gotts, Lorenz de Kock, Len Göckmann, Aurélien Lemaire, Sacha Duquet, Shirt de Vries, being the last of the classified finishers. And unfortunately, on the opening lap, we lost Luxembourg's Mathis Mouche. Up next, final heat of Karting Champions League Winter Series for 2025. It's the third and final heat for KZ2, KZ2 Masters, and X30 Super Shifter.
frein quoi? Pas de frein? Les freins cassés? Je pense, hein? Ouais.
So after a short delay, just due to the doctor needing to check over one of our Iame mini drivers after the incident we saw a little bit earlier on, here is your final grid of the heat stages for the 2025 Karting Champions League Winter Series here at Karting de Fagnes. It's KZ2, KZ2 Masters and X30 Super Shifter. The grid is as follows. Kevin Stehauer leads the way and starts from pole position. He'll be joined by Daniel Tenbach on row number 2. Renzo Alibax and Louis Esser on row 2. Jaden Teen and Jens Treur, row 3. Sita van Miert and Niels Koster round out row 4. Costa on Masters pole. Julian Cameron joined by X30 Super Shifter pole sitter Milo van Buggenhout. They complete the top 10. Anders Elkier from Denmark. Belgium's Tristan Bellon. Rick Hartmann from Germany. Milan van Vinden from the Netherlands. And Belgium's Kevin Delcroix. And the Netherlands' Martin Versteeg round out your grid. So once this race has all been said and done, we will then go into our respite phase, because in the case of everyone will need to have a little bit of rest, relaxation ahead of tomorrow, which is going to be the last day of this event. So the drivers now get into their grid positions ahead of this final race of Saturday. Green flag at the back. Drivers now put their hands on the steering wheels, and with the engines revving, revs build, lights are out. Oh, and a big problem at the back end of the field, but good start by Kevin Stayhauer. Launched it off the line. This time he knew he wasn't going to get it wrong. Three-way scramble for 5th place coming out of turn number 2 as the field makes their way through into 3 for the first time, but someone did not get off the line at all. Hands in the air. And I think it was Milan van Vinden in the 4:08 as the field makes their way through into turn number 5 and into Chemin de Fer. And a little bit of an early lead there for Daniel Tenbach. He's started off on the right foot, got the biting point right, launched it off the line, and everyone else is like going, right, we're going to have to chase him down. And that includes those behind him. So it's not going to be an easy one for the drivers, but this is where things count very, very significantly for them. So after the opening lap, Kevin Stayhauer leads the way. In second, it's Renzo Alibax. Good work by Jaden Teen. He got a great launch off the line, did the youngster from the Netherlands. And now moves up to P3, Jens Ter. I think, yeah, Jens Ter in the meantime has got through. So Jaden Teen now has Sita van Meert behind him. So Zita, unfortunately, suffered with her front bumper being found to be in, so the clips were in on the bumper and gave her a 5-second time penalty. But now, well, Kevin Stehauer is looking to make it 3 in a row and put himself on pole position for the Superheat. We have had some results come through already on the ranking after heats. Of course, juniors have concluded their racing action. Whether I might have their ranking after heats results confirmed and ratified, but X30 Senior and Iame Mini have been confirmed. But with 7 3/4 minutes left to go, we are less than 50 minutes away from sunset here in Mariembourg. The main thing is, one driver is doing exactly what he needs to do, and Kevin Stehauer has just lit up the timesheets purple again in the opening sector. 36, he's done a 36.347. He's absolutely flying. Stehauer is going to try and make sure he can put in a big old lead. And get this, he was over, he's nearly 6.5 tenths quicker than Renzo Alibak's gap was 1.1. It's now 1.6. New fastest lap this time, however, by Daniel Tenbach. 1/1000ths quicker than the driver in the lead of the race. So now it's going to be a case of, right, how quickly can people close in on the man in front? Well, that's hard to say. Very hard to say indeed how quickly they're going to be able to catch up with Kevin Stehauer, because he's managed to do exactly what he needed to do. And at this point, it's anyone's guess if anyone can catch him in the next 6 minutes and 20 seconds plus an additional lap. So, Kevin Stehauer leads the way. Jens Tur now up to second. Renzo Alibaks in third. Jaden Teen rounds out the top 4 ahead of Sita van Miert. Niels Kostra, I've just noticed, has dropped down into 11th position, so has dropped 3 places so far. He's still leading in the KZ2 Masters category. Still all to play for, however. But there is a big old train behind Jaden Teen, of course, with Belgium racing teammates. Sita van Miert just behind, and then there's Louis Esser and Daniel Tenbach making it. Two's company falls more than a crowd, it's a gaggle of people, or gaggle of carts in this instance. Now up the inside on Sita van Miert goes the 409 of Louis Esser and gets through. He opened the door there it did open the door for Daniel Tenbach, who also got the opportunity to get through. Meantime, things are looking a little bit closer now between Jens Tur. Renzo Alibaks is about 0.8 of a second behind Jens Tur. Jaden Teen last time around was about 5.5 of a second behind Alibaks. So it's Stehauer still leading. Jens Tur, new fastest lap of the race, 54.042. And that was last time round. Personal bests in sectors 1 and 2. But nevertheless, he still managed to get the cart to be the fastest out of anybody. And that's always a good thing to see. So the time is fast counting down here, just over 3 minutes and 50 seconds plus an additional lap remaining to go here in the final race for the heats for Karting Champions League 2025 here at Karting de Fagnes. Thank you to the circuit here in Mariembourg with the team led by Thierry Lebine. So 3 minutes and 30 seconds still to go on the clock. There is still that air of anticipation. I always think that sometimes the result could be in the bag and it's pretty much done and dusted. However, one thing I've come to appreciate about this sport is over the years how much unpredictability that I've witnessed as on the mic. And sometimes there can be quite a lot that does happen. So coming down to just under the final 3 minutes. And we still have that opportunity for someone to maybe throw a little fly in the ointment, so to speak. But Kevin Stehauer doing exactly what he needs to do. 53.867 was his latest fastest lap. Purple in sector 1 for Stehauer. 10 back, fastest overall. Purple sector in sector 2 with an 18.056. And, well, once we've completed the super heats tomorrow, it goes to one thing and one thing only. You don't take into consideration points. You take into consideration where you finish. And once again, Stehauer just absolutely flying. And he's now expanded the lead over against her to 2 seconds. As Daniel Tenbach gets through on Louis Esser, who now has Sita van Miert just behind the 440. He's one of the drivers alongside, along with the team from Belgium Racing, which includes Jaden Teen, who still is holding on to 4th place. Jaden being very consistent this weekend. Of course, this is his first event this year, not last year, but last year he did double duty at the Chrono Karting Dutch Championship whilst defending his, going through his senior road tax crown, which he'd already wrapped up. Went KZ2, it was at Karting Genk, the home champions, and he went and put it on pole by next to nothing. So still 2 laps remain until the checkered flag falls for the last time. Van Miert trying to put the pressure on Esser, going through into turn 3. 440, unable to make it stick at that moment in time, but there's still another opportunity. There still is a chance for that to happen. So, timer is about to expire as Kevin Stehauer comes across the line. And it is going to be the... well, it is, according to the live timing, he did not make it. He did not make it. And so it is last lap. Lap 11 out of 12 just completed. So next time round, our flag marshal on the start-finish line will now have to prepare the checkered. So Kevin Stehauer leading the way by 2.1 seconds ahead of Jens Streur. Alibaks, Teen, Tenbach, Essert, Van Miert, Kamen, Alkier and Bellon round out the top 10. But what can you say? He had to fight for the win in heat number 2, but he's going to come out of heat 3 smelling of roses through the final right-hander from the Netherlands. Kevin Stehauer on the Birrellart is going to come across the line. He takes the victory in the final heat, and it's by nigh on a landslide victory, 2.3 seconds. He beats Jens Streur. And more to the point, Kevin Stehauer has put himself on provisional pole for the super heat tomorrow. Renzo Alibaks takes 3rd ahead of Jaden Teen. Daniel Tenbach rounds out the top 5, having started from the outside of the front row. Then Louis Esser, 6th. Sita van Miert, 7th. Julian Kalman, 8th. ahead of Anders Elkier, and our X30 Super Shifter class winner, Tristan Bellon, in the number 649. Niels Koster takes his second KZ2 Masters win of the weekend and beats Kevin Delcroix, who won the class in heat number 2. Rick Hartmann, Milo van Bogenhout, Milan van Vinden and Martin Versteeg round out the 16-strong field. All drivers covered by 31 seconds, making it to the checkered flag after 12 laps. And that is that for heat action, the Karting Champions League Winter Series for 2025. Well, as the sun is starting to slowly set in the surrounding Gauvin area here at Karting des Fagnes International Raceway, that is it for today. Day 2 of the Karting Champions League Winter Series for 2025 has seen brilliant overtaking, wonderful side-by-side action, and great racing. And also with that comes great sportsmanship. Take, for instance, the final heat for X30 Senior, when the win was decided between Devon Haglan and Kevin Lantinga. A thumbs up from each driver and a fist bump on the cool-down lap. That is what you call character and good sporting nature. However, tonight, it's time to relax. It's time to get things ready in order for tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be the third and final day. Finals day for the 2025 Karting Champions League Winter Series here at Mariembourg. But also along with our Super Heats and our finals, we'll also have a driver procession between both the Super Heats and the finals. But join us tomorrow. And don't forget, follow Karting Champions League at their official website, kartingchampionsleague.com, and make sure that you look in your search engine. It's just type in at Karting Champions League in your Instagram account, on your app, on your phone, on your laptop, on your PC, and also check them out on Facebook. We'll see you tomorrow for Finals Day. Who will become our inaugural Winter Series champions for Karting Champions League 2025? Join us tomorrow and we'll find out. Until then, have a good night. See you tomorrow.